What's going on, y'all? Listen, it is the first week of Black History Month. What we're going to attempt to do is over the next 4 weeks, right, we're going to address the state of the Black Union or the rise of Blacks and African Americans. We're going to destruct that through Black history and bring it to present day with some actual steps to move forward, right? So that's what we're going to attempt to do. That's what this episode is about, deconstructing the Willie Lynch story. That's how we're going to start it.
All right, guys, it's your girl, Mrs.Fabfinancial, one of the co-hosts of the Mind Your Biz podcast. And so we want to let you know that we talk about all things business, but I don't know if some of you know, but we also do taxes, right? And so it is tax season. And so if you want to work with either one of us, myself or my co-host, Dr. BlackWealth, click the link in our bio. Check us out in our link tree. You can book an appointment. You can upload your documents, and we will get you together and let you know what you're looking at, right? So don't forget, click the link in the bio. It's tax season, right? You don't want to pay more than you have to, right? And so I specialize in personal and small businesses up to about $250. My co-host, Dr. BlackWealth, got you covered. If you are an experienced, high net worth entrepreneur, right? $250 and up. He does CFO services, payroll, tax planning. He got you. We got you. So whether you're on the low end or the high end, we got you covered. Check the link out in our bio. Click us, calendar us, book us, all that stuff. Check us out, and we see you on the other side.
It's another episode of Mind Your Biz. I'm your host, or one of your co-hosts, Dr. BlackWealth, and we have
Mrs.Fabfinancial. I'm here.
Yeah, she looking crazy, y'all. She think I'm about to hit her with something. Think I'm about to left hook her. I'm not.
I'm not. I know we have opinions, and that's fine. We have opinions, and we are a collective of diverse thoughts, and I think that is the wondrous thing about having diversity, right? Exchanging thought, exchanging opinion, and out of that comes a path to move the community forward. Because at the end of the day, we care about our community.
Well, the solution.
Right. So how we get there, sometimes that's where the conflict and conversation happens. But the ultimate goal is to push us forward as a community, as Black family, as Black enterprise, right? How do we move us forward? Yeah. And so sometimes moving us forward, we got to understand how we got there, right? And so when we talk about the Willie Lynch project, or the letter per se, was a plantation owner from the West Indies who was invited to come to speak in the colonies, one of the colonies in Virginia, to talk about how he was able to control his slaves at the time. And it was sometimes they say that the letter possibly could be real, not whatever. But at the end of the day, it was a psychology of thought that was instrumental in manipulating slaves to keep them in bondage mentally. They can keep us in bondage physically.
Oh, we're going to get into it today.
Okay. And with that, Willie Lynch made it very clear that this is property, and if you kill them, you are ruining your economic crop, right? We were considered crop or livestock, right? And so to kill them is really cutting off your money. So another way to keep them in line is to play psychological games on them, right? To get them really in their mind that they distrust each other, that they only see us as their saving light, right? So when you hear stories of slaves and they say us and we master, it's a us situation, but it's really not us, it's master, right? Why the white slave owner even laid down with slaves to create color disproportionately. Okay, we're going to uplift the light-skinned slave over the dark-skinned slave. We're going to treat the young slave different than the older slave. We're going to treat the woman slave, or if you want to have real context, the woman Negro versus the Black nigger. That's what they called him, the nigger girl, the nigger boy. And the words were triggering to even reread. And I was getting emotional just reading that, to see how people during this period watched us, saw how we interacted with each other, and came up with a diabolical psychological plan to hold us in mental bondage, to ruin us, to breed distrust, dishonesty amongst each other, which is felt today. So when we talk about systemic racism and how people feel like it's not a thing today, I need you to read this letter. And I really need you to understand, throughout hundreds of years, 300 years, we are still have the remnants of this letter all over us. And how do we combat that? How do we as people, knowing that the letter is there, what was done, what was perpetrated, how do we combat that psychological trauma? Because we hurt, right? We've dealt with so much trauma as we try to navigate present time, right? And that's what we're going to try to answer today. How do we as people, as a Black community, move us forward, right? Move us forward, knowing we have all this trauma and psychological torture that was done to us to make us hate each other, to make us envious of each other, to make us distrust each other, so that we can only trust the white man, which is what is still today, right? So how do we do that, Dr. BlackWealth?
See how she asked me the question? Look, we gotta, and you please don't take this wrong. It might look like I have I'm gonna put Willie Lynch on a pedestal, but I am for a few minutes, because this is like church. So in order for you to understand how we move past it, we got to understand the letter and the contents of the letter and what happened in itself, right? The man, we talk about thought leaders today. And Willie Lynch, in my opinion, was one of those thought leaders back in 1700s, right? When he rolled up in Jamestown in 1712, he seen it. He said, no, stop what you're doing. And I'm going to show you how we could just look at and make and create, because they created differences for us to focus on, talk about distractions that we still follow through today. And he said, if this method be effective, this will work anywhere between the next. He only took it to 1,000 years after slavery. 1700s, we might still be living within them 1,000 years, no, right? Sure. And you can see it in every shape, form, or fashion throughout periods of America. We seen the Willie Lynch in the assassination of Martin Luther King, right? So what is it, right? So he decided to, like you said, extract the differences. The mothers against the daughters, the fathers against the son, the women against the men, the old against the young, the light. And then not only in order for us to talk about the light against the dark, you got to realize that they created light by understanding that if we impregnate them, we can make brown skinned people because they too dark. Now, then we could take the brown skinned people and go into them again and make even lighter people. So then you got the whole brown paper bag test situation.
Well, I mean,
right?
Then you create you create even more animosity and dissent between the mother and daughter, right?
That's right.
The light-skinned daughter that comes out, who's treated well because she's in the house, now has the darker slaves, right? Hating her, despising her, right? Yeah. And to the point that even when they talked about the child, how the child is being reared up to be a good slave, to be a good worker, right, was to brutally humiliate the father.
Yeah.
Beat him till he's almost dead, to the point that the woman becomes paralyzed in fear that all I do is now raise my son to be a good slave. Mentally weak, but physically strong, so he can obey the orders of massa because I want my son to live, right? But also in the same, like, upside down world, I berate my son and my children so master doesn't sell him off. They lazy. You don't want him, master. You don't want to sell him. He lazy, master. He not going to be a good slave, master. They don't work hard, master. So then now I berate my children out of love, though, because I don't want master to sell them. So no, master, don't sell her. She lazy. She not going to breed good children. She not going to be a good. And so that carries on today, how we can't uplift our people. We berate. We joke around. We talk about each other, and we think it's a form of endearment, right? How backwards that psychology is for us. And we know it has, because we always turn lemon into lemonade. Even the scraps and food that comes from soul food, we've always turned the shit and the backwardsness that they've given us into a survival, means of survival. But today, present day, we got to kind of like shed that. We got to really rip that away, because we can't move forward with that same type of behavior. Mm-hmm. We have to support each other. We have to give each other words of encouragement and endearment. We can't do that anymore and move forward, right? Because we have to support each other. Each one reach one. I got to say, job well done, nephew. You did a great thing, and I'm going to support you on what you do. And I can't be afraid that if I support you, I dim my light, or I can't fit in and get through the door because of what I think only one of us can fit through, because that's how it was. Well, only one of us can be successful. Only one of us can fit through the door. It's a lot. It's trauma. And so I'm an advocate of counseling, right? We got to kind of shed all this shit. Excuse my French, but this is a heavy topic, and I sometimes need to use a curse word. So excuse me.
What's going on, y'all? I'm one of your co-hosts of Minding Your Biz, Dr. BlackWealth. I want to let you know that it's always tax season. Tax season is always here, right? Our firm specializes in working with business owners, real estate investors, and investors on looking at tax strategies to help you in your savings, right? So my other co-host, Mrs.Fabfinancial, she works with individuals and small businesses up to about $250, right? And so her office is open as well. We both can take care of you and make sure that you are doing and using your dollars for the best interest of you, right? So make sure you click the link, make sure you book a call, don't wait, do it right now, and you can get back to the episode. So
it's heavy, man.
When you looking at it, the solution for the state of the Black Union, the rise of the blacks in America, black capitalists, however that looks like, for me, the nucleus of that is the family.
Yes.
And so in order to reconstruct the family, we got to see how it was deconstructed so you understand the forces that you plan against.
Absolutely.
Right? Which is the reason why we even went into the Willie Lynch letter in our first part of this 4-part series, because it's the foundation of which the black family was dismantled, right? Just like you said, they went out and grabbed the strongest black man, right? The first person that they did, they killed them. They understood that. They let you see that, no, you could be harmed, right? And if you get out of line, here's what's going to happen. Then the second one they brought on, they brought him down to the inch of his life, where his wife and children seen it, right? And so you, at the same time, you got to understand all the factors that's happening. We are demasculating the man and masculating the woman, which why today you see that there are more black. Right now, they said there was more black business owners that's been made in the past couple of years. I think a few episodes back we did an article on it. But in particular, it's black women. It's black women that's getting the raises and the raises in corporate America when they started to increase black and diversity and inclusion across the corporate America after the event of the George Floyd. Right now, if we stay in this at surface level, some of us might get distracted again and say, oh my God, the woman is this and the woman is the Willie Lynch story and the woman should be this, that, and the third. And what I would say is everybody need to look at it, more especially the man, because we've been knocked out of our position as men, leaders in the communities, right? The people to lead and charge the fight, the protector, the provider, the comforter in more ways than not, and dismantled, and they allowed our women to quote unquote take our place. And guess what? We still haven't stood up enough to get our position back. Now, what does that look like? That doesn't look like putting a woman down or abusing or talk abusive to her or none of that stuff. But it looks like a man taking on the accountability and the responsibility of what was put on his ancestors that we deal with today. For sure. Making yourself a skilled man to have more income, whether that's business or profession, taking care of your wife and children, right? Let's not get into the battle of why does it have to be a 2-income, 3-income household, right? What does that look like? We talk about the real effects of being in polyamorous relationships, right? A lot of y'all looking at it from a 3-income perspective, but a man provides. When you look at countless of, if we go back even to the African American and how they do take on more than one wife, that's, first of all, let's take that into consideration. More than one wife, they are providing. Them women ain't working. They rearing kids.
Okay, wait a minute. What you saying again? Wait, let's run this back. Wait a minute. Maybe I skipped it and missed it. Are we in support of polyamorous?
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying I'm for or against it. What I'm saying is don't go into a lot of people look into being poly from an economic perspective, like, oh, that's 3 income. You got men with 2 women, all y'all working.
At it like that.
A lot of people do.
Do they?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
They looking at it like it's 3 of us.
Yeah.
So it's 3
just
income.
Matter of fact, if I could be so frank, Dr. Umar Johnson, I got nothing against nobody. He just explained it on the Hardly Initiated podcast a few days ago.
That's a thing that
black people should look into being poly, and I don't want us to get distracted by poly.
I did, because I was like, wait a minute, what's happening? Because we're talking about the family structure, but we adding a third component.
He looked at it like black people should look into being poly as it can help close that gap. And the first thing he mentioned was the three income. Now, the reason why I look at that as wrong or that's not how we should look at it is because men take care of their women. Even when we talk about the forces of white people, when they constructed things like taxes and policies and things of that nature, it was wealthy people who even took on marriage because it gave them a greater deduction. Their wife didn't work. That was in their advantage. For us, it's always our disadvantage. 2-income households, 3-income households, we in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 figures. We probably paying more out than we realize that we making, right? So when we look at that and what Willie Lynch did to the slave owners, the family is the thing that got to be reconstructed. We got to understand the business of family and the motion and the notions of men taking care of their responsibility. They standing up and taking care of their women. It wouldn't be whites wouldn't be a thing if we was to stand up and come up. Not saying that it's, we would never have what they calling people interracial couples. That's not my focus. But my focus is the more we stand up for our own family, the more we pour into ourselves as men, the more we pour into our women, the more our women can pour into our children. Because when you understand the psychology of Willie Lynch, he understood that if you get to the woman, you can bring the family down, because the woman is the first teacher of their children. Absolutely. So she can influence the babies on what they could do, how they can do, and how they could be more dependent on the white man and his system than they do on the man. And we've seen that time and time again.
But I think a part of moving past that, we talked about it, right? Education and awareness, understanding the historical context of the systemic racism and how its impact is on the community. So understanding, reading things like this, going into our history, which is why, to me, that I feel like they want to take Black history out. when you know history and you can understand what's happening to us, the oppression and how resilient Black families were to get here today, I feel like you would have a different respect for yourself as a person and other people around us. I think second, like you said, building strong family bonds, right? Emphasizing the importance of love and support and unity and nurturing an environment for empowerment for the Black family. And that's not to blame Black women and Black men. That's to say this is what they did. And as a Black man, the woman is the nucleus. But you have to understand what was done to you.
Right.
And how do you combat that as a Black man, not to oppress her, not to put a clamp down on her, but to get your shit together. To me, to go, I need to take some accountability on what was done to her and how that was infiltrated on me. Therefore, our seeds and our children. But what do I need to do as a man to help me reclaim my manhood, reclaim my masculinity without stepping on her neck? Because that's not what that's about. It's about healing my broken wounds. As a man, what do I need to do? And I think that's where the lack of examples, education, that men don't have that, right? What does that look like to reclaim your manhood? No, it's not to physically beat her. It's not to sit up here on TikTok and say, y'all need to stop wearing weaves. What does that look like for you as a man? I'm just saying because it's out there and I seen it, okay? I'm just saying. What does that look like for you as a man to take some accountability, right? To say, as a man, and that's a man problem. That, yes, as women, we're partners in it, but I don't know how to help you be a better man. If you can give me an example or a guide, I can help you. We can help each other with this plan, but I can't say as a man, you need to do this. Because I don't know what that is that's going to make you whole, that's going to make you reclaim that. I can have an idea and we can go to the Bible and we can go from there because the Bible tells you how you're supposed to treat your family. So, but I think that's a role. That's a good start to how we move past the psychological trauma and conditioning that the Willie Lynch kind of.
Now, make no mistake, that's the only start. Because until you reconstruct the Black family, the Black agenda will never pass. Because it shows up in so many. Because we have, let me just make this plain. Because we have dysfunctional families. We got the man against the wife and all the tools that we just laid out in the Willie Lynch story. This is how it looks up. It looks like organizations starting on right paths and agenda, and then they get distracted by division, and then the house become further divided. Sure. The thing that you think is pulling us together is pulling us apart. What does that look like? NAACP. What are they doing today? What does that look like? After they killed Martin Luther King, the Southern Leadership Council or Conference, whatever they call themselves, the Council of the Churches, was dismantled. They said, oh, man, they done killed my man. We're going to take this money from the government. And what does that look like? That's look like a pushed agenda that through the churches, they keep you still poor-minded, poor-fed, right, and relying on hope, prayer, and scripture without giving you skill, will, and something to do. And what does that look like?
And that's one of my third things, which is community support, right? So when I talk about playing a position on the baseball field, all of the positions being played, right? One of the positions we just talked about was education and awareness, knowing where we came from, knowing what was done to us, right? The second thing on the mound is what? Building strong family bonds, helping bring the Black family together. The second is community support. Is that your church? Is that your synagogue? Is that your religious community support to help to me reinforce the family bonds, to reinforce the duties that the family should be taking, right? And I think the fourth one on that baseball field is mental and health. Right, getting mental support for the healing for that trauma, because we need to figure out how to decode that, right, in a way that's healthy for both of us and for our children, right? We talking about beating, this new soft parenting versus whooping your child, right? They say that's coming from slavery, right? How do we move forward? What are our new behaviors? What are our new norms to try to shake that shit off, right? It has to come from a plethora of places. So it's family, it's community, it's church, and it's education. And my last little pillar down here is empowerment and resilience, promoting a sense of agency, self-worth, and resilience within the family. Can help counteract the feeling of powerlessness and inferiority that the Willie Lynch got so deep into our psychology. It's almost a part of our DNA. It was embedded in us from generation to generation that we breed dissent from each other, right? And people think that it's something that can't happen, but it can, right? When you think about where the Pomeranian came from. I love the little Pomeranian. That's like my little bulldog. But they came from wolves. Over downbreeding generation after generation is now this little puffball that can sit on my lap and wear clothes. But he still has the ferocity of the wolf. He's biting, he's barking, but he's less intimidating. He's a wolf. He's not a wolf anymore. So that's what I feel like they did to us. They bred us with psychological trauma over and over and over again that this is what we have. And we have to find a way to get that off of us. We have to now breed a new generation. Breed it with confidence, with self-awareness, with love for each other, with empathy for each other, to have the capacity to disagree with each other and not call each other out of our name, right? So it's a new breeding. It's a new way that we have to move forward as the Black community. And I think that those couple things that I just listed on the baseball mound would be paramount to help us move forward. The difference is when you on those baseball mounds, those different things, community, education, we all have to play a part in that. As a business owner, do I start something in the community to help reinforce our identity, to help give Black boys and girls to remove the feeling of powerlessness and feeling inferior to each other? No, my nose is different. I'm lighter. I grew up in that. In middle school and elementary school, they used to call me white girl because my nose was more narrow or my lips were less full. I grew up in that because we hated each other and we pitted against each other. We got to stop that. And how do we do that? And that's the question. What things could we do, right? And not you personally, but as a community. When you start your business, when you have your initiative, whether you're in the political arena, the religious arena, have an initiative to help Black and brown people breed different, breed moving forward with empathy, capacity, love, support for each other, and helping Black men. I'm in agreement 100% of that. Helping Black men reclaim their power and their manhood and what that looks like.
Yeah. I can't think of no real institution that teaches the construction of Black families other than the nation. And it might be watered down by some of the actions of its members and just what the nation stands for within itself. But if you go into them teachings, they pour into building up the family and what does that mean? The roles that people play, the manhood roles, his responsibilities, and the wife's roles and responsibilities down to the children. And it might look like another form of distraction because the distraction will be, well, now you trying to tell a man or a woman or how to do this, that, and the third. But it's like you said, nobody has no other than you looking into the Bible. And guess what? It becomes a distraction because the way that religion was put on us and taught, you don't even see that you have the ability to have wealth, freedom, and abundance as the men and women did in the Bible, in the biblical days, that you're just being beaten by scripture after scripture and not realizing that just in one chapter alone, Proverbs describe what a character of the nature of a man, a godly man is, the difference between a righteous man and a wicked man, right? And he also went into how to deal with your woman, right? How to understand what you need to do, the things that a man has to do in order to deal with his family. He also left instructions, right? Men leave an inheritance to his children, right? It's so many different things that's out there, but we need more men to be men, and what that might look like is you just looking within yourself. First of all, you got to realize that can no woman teach you how to be a man. So automatically, if we grew up in a single parent household, I care not how you feel about your mom. I love my mom to death. But a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. So off rip, if you grew up in a single parent household, you ought to first start to question your character and how you see and view things, and realize that there is another way to look at it. Not to disrespect your mom in a way, but just realize like, no, I can't move and function in this way. A man's supposed to leave his house and cleave to his wife. That means that we should be dating and in pursuit to be married, not playing around. Jewish people intentionally grow their family. And we talk a lot about between blacks and Jews. Even the nations talk about how blacks are the real Jews. But the problem is we're so caught up in the distractions of emotions of how they treat us as white people that we don't even want to take the time to study the family and how they build up their community. They intentionally have children. The women prepare to have kids. They go days to eat right, have certain habits for them to even form babies. Yet we haven't babies out of pure pleasure. 6 minutes of fame, and you got babies that you can't take care of.
6 minutes.
You can't take care of.
I get a little bit more than 6 minutes.
I don't know. You got babies you can't even take care of. Why? Because you still falling in the Willie Lynch mindset of building a woman up, right, and taking out the man. That's why you got the welfare society. That's why we got more black people fighting against the who play head of household, who file single. Such and such got 6 kids. Let me marry up to her doing. Let me get some of that refund, right? And we're buying into things that don't even really matter. And you need to be building yourself up. When you look at it, I was watching as I prepared for this topic. I got so wrapped up into Willie Lynch, and then I just went on a tangent. Started looking at the State of the Black Union address, right? What they did. My man, I forget his name off the top of my head. Put together the State of the Black Union address. We're not having conversations about this.
Jeffries.
No, not Jeffries. Tavis, right? And he stopped it through what I would probably venture to say his disagreements with President Obama being the president and the plight of black people.
Yeah.
But my point is we stopped even having the conversations about it. Even after he did a topic of the state of the black agenda, where's those conversations? Why? It was elders who was sitting at that table from Al Sharpton on down, and they spoke about how it was young people who was in the fight of the rights and civil rights when John Lewis and them they was 20-something years old.
That's right.
But because of what they have seen, the death of so many people, the ability for them to shut up, fall in line, and color, we produce scaredness in the youth, right? Because nobody's old standing up because they seen what was done to people like Malcolm, Martin, all the people in the world, even Farrakhan to this day that we witness. And so you don't have a lot of young people that stand up. We stood up once for George Floyd, right? And after that bandwidth was gone, we dismantled that. Business is warfare.
But also, why was it dismantled? There was nothing in place to help funnel that energy, right? People, all that vitriol and emotion behind George Floyd was funneled where? There was nothing in place in the community, political wise, to funnel that, and not, or even to turn it into an industry or a business to funnel it back to something. It was like George Floyd, we need prison reform, or we need, what was it? Cop reform. Mm-hmm. What out of that happened? What was the purpose and the agenda? There wasn't an elder, no one there that says, listen, let's talk about
Black
where
Lives
this
Matter.
goes.
That was political.
Where does this go? Not really. I mean, because it wasn't like when you said it wasn't a real plan to put in place when that happens. Like right now, we don't need to have these like mass killings to galvanize us, right? It's a catalyst. It pushes people because it triggers you emotionally that you're like, oh my God. But we shouldn't need that, right? The Willie Lynch itself should galvanize us to go, we need to put these systems in place. Hey, listen, the fraternity and sorority, everything we do, we need to tap into a Black local business. Yeah. We need to get a Black business owner, a Black developer that can come and tell us what we're doing in this community to help move us forward. We need counseling. We need to tap in with the church. We need a national agenda that can be infiltrated, I shouldn't say infiltrated, but that can be disseminated to people across this country. And that doesn't mean everybody has to get it the first time around, right? I always thank you for making me visualize and keep up with the baseball mound. We're all playing positions on this baseball field. What position are you playing? If we all come together under one agenda, which is to move the Black community forward. Right. That is our focus.
It's the only focus you should ever be focused on.
Now, if you are like, hey, I am tunneled to business, Farrah. I don't give a John Brown about nothing else but business. Well, you're going to be on second base. Right. In second base, you're going to grow, nurture, and nothing but business owners and help business owners. That's either if I'm going to the Boys and Girls Club, if I'm be a Boy Scout, senior leader, whatever that is, if I'm going to get young boys and help them be better men, be business owners, that is your plight. If I say, well, I feel like I need to move into the political arena and help Black women, then I'm going to be on third base. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, we get really distracted on how we get there, not knowing that we got to be everywhere. We got to play all positions.
And you're absolutely right. So one of the solutions is the organizations of Black people, period. So when you look at that, the first thing that they went and did is deconstructed the family by way of the Willie Lynch, which still affects us today. The other part about that is, because let's say let's say at a certain period, maybe like the early 1900s or mid 1900s, we kind of shook that just a tad bit. And so we on this baseball field. So guess what? You got each person that's on the field. You got a person who's for the rights and movements of women. You got a person who's for the rights and movements of businesses and Black businesses succeeding. Because the one thing we know is that's the only reason why I push business so much, because I don't think it's enough of us. It's a lot of us in political arenas for sure. Maybe not be a lot of us rightfully so in political arenas, but there's a lot of us there, right? But there's not a lot of us pushing the economics of Blacks, which funds all this stuff. Right now, I'm a part of a national Black association, and they put money, power, position behind lobbyists in Congress.
That's right.
To stop the bill or the Transparency Act. Mm-hmm. For the BOI that we got to do right now. Mm-hmm. You understand? Mm-hmm. And so when it's a movement such that's big, they rally around it. So here's my point. In the center, the picture, let's call it center field, we lost our understanding of organizations that we form and the reason why we formed them, and the organizations we joined, how we joined, and why we formed them. What are you saying, Tariq? Well, you got places or people who were Masonry. Mm-hmm. You have the Divine Nine, and you have the influences of the church. These are organizations and places and things that Black people could come together. We talk about the principles of an organization and be on one common accord, ground, and playing field, where the doctor can come talk to the carpenter, where the politician can come talk to the businessman, where the woman can come talk to the man. These were organizations that we formed and we used, right, for the catalyst of Black people. But once they assassinated Martin Luther King, so crumbled the church. When the church crumbled, right, because most of these people was not only involved in these organizations, they also was in the church. When the church got dismantled, started the distractions of everything else that we're doing. Now it's about the Divine Nine partying. we stepping, we throwing parties, we doing whatever it is that we want to do, but nobody's pushing those agendas. There was AKAs at the foot of the DC that moved the movements of women and the women's rights and the movement out there. That's what they don't tell you. But it was those organizations that we came together, whether we was light skin, dark skin, brown skin, red skin, blue skin, we was all black under one nation coming together for the organization and advancement of black people. And those are the things that we lost. And you got young people who don't have no faith in these type of organizations, church, or these fraternities or sororities, because people looking at it like, well, what y'all formed to do what? But when you got some people who are in them, right, like myself, I'm like, no, the history of this, man, like we're not talking about what we did that really propelled us moving forward. You know what I'm saying? When they organized the speech for Dr. King, those are black churches, businessmen,
absolutely,
organizations from Alpha, all of them that came together to raise the money to bring him there. That's where we organized that. And so because of the dismantle of the family, it's a domino effect. You dismantle organizations.
Absolutely.
And what's the number one distraction? Well, we will rise a few of them. We'll make a few of them billionaires. We'll make a few of them outliers based off their physicality, because you ain't using your mind in some shape, form, or fashion not to move the economic plight. But we'll praise the person who could shoot the most hoops. Nothing against it, right? But we'll raise some of them to give them a little power, so you can say, oh, man, there's a way out.
Right.
And you still fall right into their hands because you still can't say what you want to say. Hence why the Jewish people cancel Christmas on anybody that say something negative, right? But guess what they do? They move as a unit. They let nobody forget the stuff that they've been through, and they put their money where their mouth is in every sense, shape, form, or fashion.
And I think it's because, we lack accountability and discipline. We lack accountability and discipline. And so why do we do that? You need to know why that's a thing. And so we can't, you hear it. I don't do black businesses. We don't support each other.
Yeah. And
that means we don't have any accountability or discipline. In the Jewish community, do you think they say, well, that's why I don't buy from Jewish communities? People don't have any race. Every business owner is not a superior business owner, but we tend to highlight and knock each other for not being where we need to be and not giving each other that empathy and that capacity to grow because we're behind the eight ball. Now, that's not an excuse to be a subpar business owner. But what I'm saying is, if you find one black plumber and he don't do the job, go find another black plumber. There's another one. Go find another black plumber.
Right.
That don't mean that's why I don't do black businesses.
Right.
So in the Jewish community, if they don't find the one that they want, they will find another one, but they will still circulate their dollars in that community. It's innate. It's a part of their breeding that we do us first.
Yeah.
And we don't have that. We have to get back to that.
Yeah.
We have to then go, we got to do us first by any means necessary. You know what I mean? We do it with hair because we ain't going to go to no white woman to do our hair. We're going to find another black stylist and another black stylist because they don't do us right? Yeah. So we got to have the same idea with what in anything that we do. In clothing, in industry, in food. Yeah. And if we support, we have more power with our dollars. And we just don't understand that. We don't see how powerful we are, right? It goes in music and entertainment. But in business, we don't leverage our money in the same capacity. Yeah. And I think it's because that self-hate that is there, that thing that's in our DNA that we really can't be happy for each other because it's a part of our DNA. We got to work hard against that. We really do. And we have to create activities, safe places for us to gather and praise each other and support each other without fighting, without without not back breaking, but I forgot the word, I'm not thinking, but we have to create a safe place for us to support each other and not tear each other down.
But then you got to realize that such a place might not exist and might not possibly can't be created, but you still have to move the agenda forward in spite of.
You can.
In spite of me having arguments and fights about how we go about and do things.
Because I think about Tax Dragon as us as a community. Tax Dragon is there to support tax professionals in a positive way, that if you have a problem, that we can help you identify your problem, and we're not going to drag you. We're not going to talk bad about you, and we're not going to try to steal your clients.
Yeah.
That's a safe place, right? Rather you do it on social media, rather you do it in person. You should be able to have a woman's book club, and we talk about said item, the book, support each other, lean on each other without dragging each other, tearing each other down. We have to create these places. You know what I mean? The more, the merrier. Yeah. We have to create safe places for our young girls, our young boys, right? And not the Boys and Girls. Well, the Boys and Girls Club is okay, but you can visualize and dream of that.
For sure. And so when you look at it, right, as we set this foundation for our next 3 episodes, right, the first thing we must tackle is the reconstruction of the Black family, because that domino effect affects a whole lot of stuff. It affects how we treat each other.
I think first is education. I think not a lot of us know why we do what we do. Is educating. Everybody should be reading the Willie Lynch project. Is educating us first. Education is so important. To understand why your ignorant ass do what you do is important to me. I can't move you forward if you don't know why you a fool.
And
that's just how I feel.
But not through.
I feel education is important.
It's education in the system. So what happens
because if you don't know the system that's holding you down and separating and pulling you apart, when I try to say here's the solution, you're not going to understand why. I'ma just say, well, you trying to change and feminize Black men, and you trying to tell Black women not to wear hair weaves. It gets thrown off, right? Mm-hmm. But if we educate and know where this came from, look, this is the roadmap. This is the plan that was diabolical, that was set up against us. And you can see it today. This is why every child in every public school around the country should be reading that. Every adult should be reading that letter. It's like a pamphlet. It's not long at all. Education. Mm-hmm. See the playbook that was written for our demise. Mm-hmm. So we can now rewrite it and deconstruct it.
And so when you get educated, what happens is we stop getting distracted by the system. So we stop having conversations of it's the system, which I do agree. But you need to get educated about the system so you know how to move different to produce our own system, our own way of life.
To combat the system.
To combat the systems. And one of the best things so it's basically like how you see yourself, right? So in that era of the nation rising, the 5%ers, the Black Panthers, the one thing that they preached was the Black man, the Black woman was God. Why? You got to ask yourself, why is that? It's not just because it says it in the book of John that or even in Genesis, because God said it too. We're going to make man and woman in my likeness and image, right? But it's for you to see yourself and hold yourself in a certain light and position so you can move in a different way. And so first thing you need to do is understand the system. Understand that the FBI was founded upon deconstructing the Black organizations that rose. Understand that that's why the CIA was there. Understand that even though that they put Obama in office, you use his administration to kill Gaddafi. Understand why that stuff is happening. You start to understand that you need to spend more time with your family and build up personal accountability to build up the family, build up the economics, build up the organizations and the political structures to move our agenda forward. And I think that we need to, in the year 2024, as we enter the truth era, these are some truths that we need to deal with so we can go back to go forward in a sense, right? And bring back things like the State of the Union, the Black address, the Black agenda.
I agree.
With solution-oriented things, whether you on this side of the playing field or that side of the playing field, and move our agenda together.
I agree, but be easy or a little bit on my Obama, all right? Just not too much.
Distraction.
Not too much on Obama.
Distractions.
Not too much. Because there were multiple presidents before him who had an agenda against us. Don't focus on the black one. Just saying, be easy.
No, I didn't say Obama had no. So now I got cleared up.
That's right.
I didn't say Obama had a agenda against black people. But what I am going to tell you is white people play the long haul. They was trying to move in on Gaddafi before Obama got there. Right? Just so happened, I ain't going to say just so happened because I don't believe in coincidences, but they used him to take him out. You got to understand what was he doing.
But any president in that place, any president, if Hillary would have won, the same thing would have happened to Gaddafi. Any American president that would have won and been the president during that time, Gaddafi would have been out of there.
All right, well, now I'm going to hit this and quit it because now I got to get into why. Now I got to get into my beliefs on, first of all, president in one shape, form, or fashion is never coincidence on who become president, right? So I understand that they know. First of all, you got to realize the president is the figurehead. Congress and everybody else around him moves the needle on a lot of stuff that people do. And so in that instance, we got distracted on the fact that Obama became president, that we thought that we have arrived so much in fact that we forgot that the rest of us was still in the fight to fight along with Obama. And the fact that they used his presidency to kill another black man don't make it no better. That's the part I want to focus on, so that we make sure that we always are moving in the right space, moving in the right field for all of us to come together from the low man to the top. Because even if we put a president up there, president still got move
the
of people.
The president is a figurehead, and that's why I say get into your local politics.
Right.
The president is a figurehead. He has no power without Congress. Congress has no power without the constituents that put him in place, which is you sitting in your neighborhood. So that's what I say about that. But I'm in agreement. We're in agreement. We in agreement. And I was just, talking about self-love as I think James Brown couldn't say it no better himself. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
That's right.
I think,
so y'all, we going to
self-love.
So that's another episode. So we want to make sure that we are. This is the business of business, minding your biz. That's what this is about, right? We in the business of business is warfare. It's a war out here, and we are looking to equip you with the necessary resources to help you fight this war, help you fight this agenda. It's on self, it's on mindset, it's on family, it's on community, it's on the businesses, it's on the professions that we have, and that's how we move this thing forward, right? And over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about, we're going to revisit things from the past with new information for the present to help us move forward in our future as we move the black agenda and the State of the Union of the black people. So listen, we want you to like, share, subscribe, comment, leave something for us. If you like the direction that we moving in, if this is a good topic of discussion, let us know, right? We still going to talk about it anyway, but maybe it's going to redefine how we talk about it.
Right.
The points that we do talk about it, right? But we do want to hear your opinion on the said conversations forever going. Never stop the discussion. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, so we can continue to provide you all with good content and become better in our own craft.
What he said.
Peace, y'all. What's going on? We're glad to have you at another episode of Minding Your Biz podcast. Listen, everything that you hear or see on this podcast episode is for educational purposes only. We have not seen your books. We have not seen your specific situation. Make sure you please seek your financial advisor for anything pertaining to your situation. Peace. All right, y'all. It's a wrap.
Listen, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends to come check us out at the Mind Your Biz podcast, y'all.
And we'll see y'all in another episode of Minding Your Biz. Peace.